I feel so bad for Pablo and Sandy because they have come out here and thrown two gems to start this season, and they are getting no run support at all. Pablo Lopez, he's out there pitching his ass off. He makes one little mistake to Yadi or Molina, and as soon as Yadi hits it out, you're like, "That 2-0, it's over."
Well, we know what sucks about that is when you see Molina hit a home run, you start thinking about your catcher.
Yeah,
We can't do that.
The other thing that is annoying is I'm sitting here complaining all game about the ballpark, and I hate the ballpark. And
other teams just hitting playing home run derby.
Yeah, and Brian Anderson is like having what Brian Anderson was going through yesterday. I mean, he was in such a glass case of emotions because he hits the first one, and he's like mother bleeping the baseball, and he's mother bleeping the ballpark. And then he hits another one to deep center field, and the guy runs it down. And he's just like, he's laughing like he's cracking, like he's going psychotic over the ballpark. And then, as you heard there from old-time Cardinals radio announcer, they hit a grand slam right into center field. So
then maybe it's not the ballpark.
They've been shut out in 4 of their last 8 games. That includes the 2 playoff games.
Thank you, Robbie. We got it. You
can't count the playoff games, Robbie.
Right,
it's bad enough already. You don't have to run up the.
No, that's
you don't have to do it anymore of running up the score. Because they can't. So you could just keep it at this pocket of 6 games has been trash.
But what I will say is that give it a minute because because here's the thing.
It's over.
Hitting like shooting, it's kind of one of those things that if you think a guy has certain abilities hitting the baseball, that during the course of a year, it tends to work itself out. The problem is you don't want to get too much in a hole starting off the season, because then you start just getting disappointed, and the mood is not as enthusiastic as it was when the season started.
Yep.
So that's the only thing you're fighting. But as far as, like kind of like the Heat, right? They come back from West Coast trip. Some good things. Everybody was excited. You're like, why?
Listen, they have good things. They have good starters.
Right.
This is CBS's Chris Towers. Marlins starting pitching, 30 innings pitched in 6 games, 36 strikeouts, 2.4 ERA.
That should win ball games.
Marlins relief pitchers, 24.1 innings pitched, 23 strikeouts, 6.65 ERA. Let me tell you something. This new bullpen, meatballs.
But here's the other thing that you could do, okay, is that it very rarely works when you go cheap on relief pitching. Because a lot of times, a lot of teams will have 6 or 7 starters and move 2 guys to the bullpen. If you have just bullpen guys, that means they couldn't start.
They didn't want to give Kinsler $4 million.
You don't have that flexibility.
Marlins non-pitcher hitters hitting .220 this season with a .323 slugging percentage.
Ooh.
Right.
Ouch.
Like yeah.
So it's been a rough first week.
But it's been just that. It's been just that. The first week, like, don't let the excitement and enthusiasm get you, frustrated about a team in the first week.
We've seen this.
The only thing that the thing that I'm frustrated for is just for Sandy and Pablo, because they went and pitched their asses off, and they put you in positions to win.
Now I will say this,
and you didn't even come close to helping them.
That the crazy thing about baseball, unlike any other sport, right? I mean, what's happening to the Marlins is equivalent of Devin Booker scoring 70 and losing by 20.
Yeah,
right? It's like you have to depend on other guys on your team, and so the pitcher can pitch 6 or 7 shutout innings. But if your team don't score, you're just waiting, bad things usually happen, and that's what happened.
They had a stupid
They
baseball
go
mistake
6 or
in the
7
first
innings,
inning.
bring the relief in, and
Yeah, and you're at a point of the season too, like, Pablo's not going to go past 100 pitches, or Sandy's not going to go past a 6-7 inning mark right now because it's start 2. That seems kind of irresponsible. And so, eventually this meatball factory that they've put in the bullpen is going to come in there with their marinara sauce and just give it right up to the hitters.
they're throwing that big meatball that's an appetizer when you go to Monterano's.
Meatball,
the giant meatball,
little ricotta cheese on there.
Yeah,
it's
brutal.
Tough.
It's brutal. But again, let's not get caught up. We do this in sports, man. We go extreme. No patience. Baseball, what are they playing? They're playing the full 162 games?
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
It's supposed to be.
And so let's not get.
I'll give it the road trip.
Okay, huh?
I'll give it the road trip.
My thing is give it a quarter of the season.
No,
so after a quarter of the season, if they're somewhere around 500, then you could clearly say, all right, we're going.
We could be approaching Spider Watch again.
No, oh my goodness, Robbie.
And by the way, this bad hitting is with veteran hitters. It's not like young guys are playing. For that, I'd rather bring up Blade, bring up all the young guys.
Dude, it's if you start making moves after 1 week of baseball, how are you going to ever turn it around? Because your team, you think everybody's tense because of the start of the season and expectations?
I got my eye on my watch.
Start bringing guys up and sending guys down after 1 week.
Bring up Blade. These old veteran stiffs, they're not cutting it.
They're not going to bring him up and give up that extra year.
Yeah, they're going to watch the clock. I know.
They're I will say this: if this is one of those seasons though that does turn into Spider Watch, or it does look like there's nothing.
It's the first week.
I'm just saying. If it does continue down this path, they better give the fans something of excitement, because it can't just be I'm watching Jazz Chisholm every single night in hopes, because Brian Anderson, I love the groundskeeper. He's 28 years old. Miguel Rojas is over 30. All the other veteran guys, like, they're all veterans other than Jazz. Jazz is the only exciting young position player to watch every single night. We already talked about Alfaro. So yeah, if it does come down this path, like, I do want to see, like, hey, let's see some of this young core that you've gone out there and drafted.
Do you understand that as a young player, he will get called up after they can get that extra year of arbitration?
You got an extra year. You got a COVID year.
But that's what they do. Remember the big thing with Chicago? With Bryant, the third baseman?
With Chris Bryant, yeah. They waited like a
Chris
week.
Bryant.
Yeah.
The whole city went crazy.
Oh, whatever. They brought up Tatis, and Tatis took over baseball.
Oh, okay. They also gave him what, $400 million before he even got to arbitration? So that ain't happening with anybody with the Marlins.
If I'm honest, that seemed like a stupid move.
Especially for a team that's known as frivolous.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, why do you have to pay Tatis that much money? Like, you're going to pay him that much more in arbitration? That seems.
I would say this is that the smart thing that they did was they gave him a contract, so at least by the end of the contract, he could still play baseball, right? So he'll still be in his 30s. A lot of these guys get this contract when they're in their 30s.
Pujols.
And those last 2 years, or they're 40 years old. So if you're thinking about saving money, if he's going to make $30 million at the end of the contract, you're talking about 2 or 3 years, $60-90 million. If you give it to him now, you're actually saving that money on the end, because he'll actually be able to play. Does that make sense?
I get it in theory. Like, I know what you're saying.
That's
like,
all we got right now, because this has never happened.
It just still seems kind of unnecessary.
But okay, say you
because like when you did the Yelich deal, that's saving a ton of money. Like, you're giving him a guaranteed upfront $50 million. $50 million is and the difference between having to pay Yelich $200 million. I get, but like, if you're gonna have to pay a guy $340 anyway, like, What's he gonna make? $400 million when we're talking silly sauce money? Like,
okay, but unlike any of the unlike football, that money's guaranteed. So if you're gonna guarantee that money, why not do it now? Like again, all I'm trying to do is figure out how could a frivolous team, how could a team who's not known for spending giant amounts of money all of a sudden spend a giant amount of money? And that is, you have a young player who's going to be 37, 38 when the contract is up instead of 41 or 42. Just imagine when he's 37, what those extra 4 years will look like. So you're actually saving close to $100 million.
Yeah, but it's like with the Braves did with Acuna. Like everybody makes fun of his agent because he basically got. I think it was like, what was it, Robbie? It was 10 years.
8 for 100.
800. That's a smart deal for them to do because so you've locked him in now for $12 million or so a year,
right?
Like that's a huge amount of savings.
Right. You think maybe they tried that and Tatis said no?
I don't know. I don't know what they tried, but
I'm not. Look, we all know the Padres or the Oakland A's. There ain't no way in hell.
But they just
gave either one of those teams will walk into the table and say, "We give you $300 million."
But they just gave Manny Machado $300 million.
Yeah, Manny Machado,
and he's been in the league forever.
They paid Hosmer. They traded for Yu Darvish and his contract.
And they got traded for Blake Snell.
Blake Snell too.
Yeah, they're going all in. What are they doing right now?
I think the Bills are going to come later. 4-3.
You think?
Well, you got to spend it.
The Bill always
got to spend. You got to spend in that division with the Dodgers. Like you got to do something.
I mean,
otherwise you got no shot.
I think it's California. They're going all willy-nilly with the money. What are we doing here?
Anyway, Marlins 4 back at first place. Phillies are 5-1.
We can't pay Kitzler $4
first
million.
Week. You can't do standings after 1 week.
Just see what I see.
It's over.
See what
Season's
I see.
over.
Same record.
Really, Robbie?
Season's over.
Same record as the Pirates. Pirates
Last
trying
year
to
was
lose.
a fluke. We were too drunk.
If I recall,
Bubble frauds.
Yeah.
I've been pretty consistent with how I view teams and players or whatever. Why am I always called the rain cloud?
No, you're not. It's just
hell, Robbie. What are you talking about, dude? You are wozy woo. You're so negative.
I just call like a C.
They played a week of baseball.
A week of terrible baseball.
Yeah, and I think they won this.
So they have 100.
They got shut out twice.
55 games left, and you're putting them on Spider Watch.
Can't hit.
They scored 3 runs.
Okay, now they can't hit.
They got no sticks.
Baseball's a 30% sport.
Brian Anderson's already
30% sport.
You should have seen his face yesterday. Yeah. He's breaking. He's mentally broken.
Go do some weights.
The park got him.
The other team seems to be hitting him pretty good.
I don't think it helps. He's got the pressure of the contract. The ballpark's big.
Pressure of after 1 week.
Yeah.
These are the conclusions you came to.
Yeah, well, thankfully we're not playing Rats Off a Ship today. We won't get to do that till next Wednesday. But
we've already.
You're already Rats Off a Ship.
I'm willing to give them the road trip. If the ballpark is an issue, they got 6 road games.
We're gonna have. Listen, you know what this road trip is, Leroy? All right, we're going to the doctor. This is a good way to check our temperature. All right, and we're taking on the Mets
the way you sound like Braves. You're checking the Marlins temperature. It's like you're not bend over. That's how you check.
We'll see.
What are they?
Old school.
It's a 7-game road trip.
We'll see if we're doing a bend over the butcher paper, or if we're just taking it like a little forehead temperature.
Robbie, you are making your decision based on 1 week of baseball.
If they go 0-7 on this road trip, or even if they win 1 game on this road trip, they come back 1-12 or 2-11. Like that's over.
Okay,
it's over.
Is it? So
last year was a total.
Let me ask you.
And everybody was
right.
Let
me ask you this. So basically, what you're saying is that their over under is like 71 games. They're going under.
If they come back from
no, because you've already had these hot takes. So right now,
yeah, they're going under. They're going under right now.
Anybody want any of this action?
I'm not
I
gonna
think
say
you guys are
I'm not
clowns.
I'm not gonna say that they're gonna go under 71 just because they have a bad road trip, but 71 games is not a good season. It's not good.
No. But here's my other point. Okay, like if the Heat, let's put it in Heat. If the Heat has started the season 0-6, what would you think?
Not good.
Okay, but they had a stretch like that. It just didn't happen at the beginning of the season. Baseball teams have these stretches.
Okay, but it's one of those things though where we really I tried to look at this with such an optimistic view coming into the season, and they've gone and done about the worst thing they could do.
Okay, but you're telling me that nobody else in baseball is gonna go 1-7. What are they? 1-5?
Well, it's worse.
1-5. Wait, it's not even as bad as the Heat were. It's 1-5.
Only other team in the National League that's 1-5 is the Pirates. They're trying to lose.
Wait, so you're telling me no other team in baseball is going to have this stretch? They just had it at the beginning of the season. That's it. Every team is going to go through this. Same thing with the Heat.
If you don't,
there's a lot of teams that have the same situations that the Heat have had, and they're okay.
The Marlins got no sticks, so
you don't know that yet.
They got no sticks.
You don't know that yet.
You might as well call the Marlins.
Weekend of the season.
Yeah, you might as well get the Marlins a propane tank because they couldn't light a fire by themselves because they got no sticks. Okay, so
you need the charcoals that are pre-soaked.
Right, exactly. A little lighter fluid. Can we get a little lighter fluid?
You don't need lighter fluid. Do you still like when you use the charcoals that already have the stuff on it? You just throw the match in there. Do you still add lighter fluid?
I haven't used a charcoal grill since college, but no, I don't even think we had. I didn't even know there was a thing. We would use the tons of lighter fluid as much as possible.
Oh, that's like a guy rite of passage, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know you got to let that soak in first, right?
The lighter fluid?
Yeah. Or do you just want to see the big fire?
I just want to see the big fire.
I can see. You remember Eddie Murphy? Now that's a fire.
Robbie, hit Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly yesterday asked about Marlins Park being too damn big, and this is what the Marlins skipper had to say.
The funny thing about a ballpark is that both teams are playing in it, and we kind of complain here in general about ball doesn't go anywhere, which it's just a tough hitting park, and guys know it to come in here and hit the ball to the ballpark. You got to hit it clean, and it's got to be sometimes in the right area of the ballpark. So we see balls fly out for the other side. So, it's hard to say the ballpark, right, for me. We have to make the adjustments that we have to make, offensively. But there are balls that have been hit good. I mean, Andy today, I thought he had 3 great at-bats, actually 4 with the walk in the last time up. He hit a couple balls really good to the, tough part of the ballpark. And this place makes you pay. You have to hit everything to hit a ball at the ballpark. You got to hit it really good. So, I think it is good sometimes to be on the road. When you click a ball, it's going to go. So we'll see what happens. But both teams got to play in it.
Yeah, well, so it sounds like, listen, we got our asses kicked, so I don't want to say that this ballpark sucks. But yeah, kind of does. That's the way I read through the lines there. Like, Don Mattingly said a lot of words, but really what he means is place sucks.
I mean, they've moved the fences in multiple times.
Yeah, move them in further, especially that center field and left and right center field. It's ridiculous.
That center field used to be 420 with a big, giant green wall.
Ridiculous.
I missed that.
Do you remember how big? Do you remember how big the old place used to be? 434 to straight up center field.
Oh, the triangle.
Do you know how many home runs we cost Derek Lee and Cliff Floyd over their careers? Derek Lee left the Marlins and became an MVP candidate with the Cubs because it was a normal ballpark.
But that's what happens when you put your field, your baseball field on a football field.
It was ridiculous.
I did it. I played on a baseball field for half the year.
Ridiculous.
It sucks.
I'm sure it sucks. But Derek Lee had that Oppo Taco power, except that every time he would hit it to right center, caught. And then Brian Anderson's losing it. I mean, he was beside himself yesterday. Beside himself, Leroy. He thought he had 2 dingers yesterday, caught at the track.
Maybe he only has one in track power.
Wow. Are you saying that about the groundskeeper?
No, I'm just saying.
You're saying get his weight up?
It was fine last year.
Wow. I didn't say that, BA. He said that. All right. Are you saying that Brian Anderson has to get in the gym? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that look, they know that they have to hit the ball. Now here's the thing I fear. Baseball is not a perfect sport. But if you try to do things perfectly, sometimes it gets you in trouble. For example, if you try to hit the sweet spot of the bat all the time to get that extra 15 feet, then you end up not hitting it at all.
Do you think that Don Mattingly gets in the cage after these guys are complaining about the ballpark?
Oh,
and
gives it and just starts smashing them?
And he hits them out and he goes, "Get your weight up, Nancy."
Well, they could all smash BP balls. Keep in mind, you're also guessing whether it's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball or a changeup or a curveball. So it's not that they can't hit it out.
Why can't we just get a fake ballpark? It's so much more fun. I bet the fans of these fake ballparks have a great. I was watching the Reds game the other day. I mean, they hit so many home runs, Leroy. That's such a fake ballpark.
But it goes both ways.
Here's the problem. When they built it, they thought that this park would be so much smaller. And it actually seems to be bigger than the one they were playing in.
They don't get the carry. They're at sea level and they're playing with the roof closed half the time. You're not going to get any carry on the baseball.
But then that has nothing to do with the ballpark.
Science.
Can we get what about a dehumidifier, like the opposite of Coors Field?
Oh,
if they could keep humidity in, they could definitely take humidity out.
How can you dump?
Just suck it out.
That sounds expensive.
We'll get a guy. All right, there'll be a guy.
When you would have to recycle the air.
Yeah, we'll Jeter. I'm sure he has an intern. Okay, so he will send Todd the intern down with a vacuum, and he'll suck the air out of the baseball.
Here's what I also say about
and
that.
The moisture.
Somebody, DA said, Molina hit it to the concourse. Ballpark is fine.
Well, yeah, that didn't help. I mean, yeah, he hit it to the concourse, and then that dude hit a grand slam right over the center field wall.
Right. So it's like, they dropped the bat, look over into the Marlins dugout. Ballpark is fine.